just help us? I thought I saw in the statement, we don't have to go back to it, just tell me if I've got this right, that you encouraged the protesters towards the end as this enforcement action rolled out, you encouraged protesters to leave the protest site rather than be arrested?
I don't believe that to be the case. I never encouraged anyone to leave until the 19th.
On the 19th, maybe I had that date wrong then.
Yes.
So on the beginning on the 19th,
yes.
Did you then change your approach and encourage protesters to leave rather than be arrested or dispersed?
After what I saw personally in the city, the level of violence that the police had brought to the protesters, what I saw, I was so disgusted. That day, Danny Bulford had also been arrested later in the afternoon. And the following morning on the 19th, I had a meeting with the remaining people that I knew to be leaders or truck captains in my hotel room with other people. And my advice to everybody was to depart the city of Ottawa and to peacefully withdraw, but that it would have to be up to the individual owner-operators of their own vehicles. They have to decide for themselves. But our recommendation was that they left the city of Ottawa as peacefully as they could. And at 10:03 in the morning, I remember the phone call with the OPP. I notified them and I said, we will peacefully withdraw. You need to move your concrete barriers and allow us to get fuel into the trucks. And we will start making arrangements to leave as soon as possible. But that each truck driver had to make their own individual decision. And, you know, there is a video of it. I'm sure somebody may bring it up. You know, it was a very frustrating phone call that I had with the OPP. But I said we are recommended. It's not my proudest moment. If you do show the video, my language is terrible. But I was angry and I was frustrated, but I advised him to allow the truckers to leave. Move the concrete barriers because we couldn't get out, and allow us to get fuel because, you know, fuel was a bit of an issue trying to get out.
Right. And for the commissioner's purposes, then, do you know how many of the protesters took the advice that you gave and left voluntarily?
There was a group of protesters that were set up with tents. There was it was an outdoor kitchen basically with a big pig roast and stuff. And that individual who was, I think, owned that tent or was in control of that tent had started to pack up and recommend to his people that it was time to leave. And I just know that various groups took the advice and some didn't. But by the morning of the 19th, from our perspective, the violence just actually got worse. And when they moved down to the War Memorial, that's when things got really quite disturbing about, you know, and even on the 18th, things were incredibly disturbing. You know, you'll hear testimony here, I'm sure, from Chris Deering, the horrific things that he had, and he's a combat veteran of Afghanistan. So after hearing that, and seeing the footage of all of that stuff after that, there was no way there was any point in staying any longer. I mean, I understand violence. There was no way those truckers were ever going to be able to repel the police in any way.
The truckers those who remained and
those who didn't were not allowed to get out, because I think at that point on the 18th and 19th, the police decided they're going in. And, you know, we had seen the text messages of RCMP officers laughing and joking about bringing, like, don't do it all in one day. Let us get our turn on the next day. The police were getting geared up. That was leaked to the alternative or social media, where they were joking and laughing about using jackboots on people.
Right.